Hey Vulcan. I've asked this to pretty much every support today. Obviously in this new patch, Tom Kench has been severely nerfed, and Tom Kench is a champion you've played quite a lot. And I believe um, you've played the best game within the split on him. I just want to know your general thoughts on the Tom Kench changes, and do you think any champion similar to him will replace him?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit sad to see my boy Tom Kench get reworked because I think he's not looking too viable at the moment. Um, Losing his EAT to or like his EAT being changed to his ult makes it a lot harder to be picked. The main reason was for safety for carries, right? And I was trying it a little bit in solo queue, mostly trolling my teammates because I don't think it's very good. Um, so there's that. I mean, it's like I think it's good that he changed it. So I'll just be clear on that. I think the champ was like kind of an LT for league, but I did like playing it, I guess, or not really, but I think I was good on it, right? So it sucks that I was reworked, but I didn't like playing it. Yeah, I think he's not looking too viable at the moment.
Thank you. Pedro, you can go next.
Yes, hi Vulcan. I'd like to know how's the progress with Sven going since he returned to the team after sitting out for the first 3 weeks of the regular season, and how close is that synergy to the form from spring?
I think it's going pretty well. It did feel like in scrims we just like from the first scrim game that we played, we kind of felt like we were already on the same page. It didn't feel like the time we played with different players in the line made us kind of lose our synergy. It felt we both felt pretty comfortable right after. So I think it's going good. It's just I guess trying to figure out how we want to play the matchups because the matchups have changed a little bit since the last time that we played together. So that's like the biggest thing is figuring out what we want from each other in those matchups, how we want to play them, just like I guess theory crafting, figuring out how we want to play them, right? So that's the biggest part, but I think it's going pretty good. We're not at our best form. I think last year and in spring we were better, but I think we'll get back there as time goes on. Just natural flow of things, I guess.
I'm sorry. Shay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go.
Another addition in this patch is the new item, and for the love of God, I don't know how to say it. Anthemus chains, I think that's it.
Yeah.
You tend to do play a lot of tanks. Which this item is supposed to be for. What's your thoughts on the new item, and have you got it tested out much?
Yeah, I've tested it a little bit. It's kind of hard to feel the value of the item because it's hard to like realize the difference between how much. Well, the biggest part, right? I'll just say this first. The biggest part about the item for supports is that you can reduce tenacity on a certain champion. So if you're playing Leona or Gallo like I was that game, it would be good for me to buy it and then put it on someone that I want to CC, right? But it's hard to feel the actual value of the item. It's hard to spot like the difference between if you had it versus if you didn't have it, like would that have lived or died, you know what I mean? So it's hard to actually value the item, but I think it's like a pretty easy build path to have for supports. The components are kind of cheap and easy to buy, so I think it should be pretty good for supports in theory. It's just I'm not quite sure how good it is to like rush it. I've seen some people like build it first item. I'm not sure how good that is compared to just going lock it first, for example. I think I'd have to try more, but it definitely looks like it could be very good.
Pedro, you can go.
Yes, I'd like to move to the Immortals game. You guys took down Racing Destiny with your composition of Costa and Galio. I'd like to know what was the things that you and your bot lane partner focused on in taking down the latter pair.
Well, we're kind of stronger in the 2v2 and we have more wave control, so we ended up having push in the first few waves and then pulling the wave back and kind of making it hard for them to get the wave into our turret and getting a good reset, a good recall for on their side. So we were kind of just making their lives difficult and scaling into the game because I think, well, the biggest reason I played Galio was not for the lane because it's not one of the best matchups into Knowledge, although it's fine. It's just game counter to Nocturne. He wants to dive and I just press W on top of him and it's pretty hard for him to spell shield it because I can release it whenever I want or I can just hold it if I feel like he'll press it too early. So Economist Nocturne and the idea of having a comp that dives in, like Kaisa and all this. Those are gems I generally want to go in. So I think even though it's a good lane, I was mostly about countering them, and I think it was pretty good that we were able to have more control of the lane with a matchup that I didn't play with winning a lane hard in mind, I guess.
Thank you. Shay, you can go next.
Hi again. So it seems that not just Cloud9, but a lot of teams that went to MSI are now struggling in Summer Split. Now there could be a bunch of reasons for this. Maybe it'd be a burnout, or for example, you guys had Sven take a little break. But now it seems that like Cloud9 is coming back from the little rut that they were in. Do you think there is an issue with teams going to MSI and not having much of a chance to have a break after?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a problem, but I feel like the positives outweigh the fact that you don't really have a break. I think having the experience of going to MSI and playing all those good teams is better than having a break, of course. But it is hard to come back, and then either you have to make the choice of either practicing like pretty much instantly and not having much of a break, or you take it a bit easier, maybe you have a week or two off and you scrim a little bit less, which is what we chose and we felt like was the right decision for us in the long term. So yeah, that meant that we would be a bit weaker out of the gate, and like you said, the swap didn't make it easier for us to kind of get back where we left off, I'd say. So yeah, it's hard with MSI being the end of MSI being so close to the start of LCS, but overall I'd say we still have an advantage compared to other teams just because we went to Iceland.
You're muted. Is it okay?
Okay,
if I go?
yes, sorry, I don't know why. It keeps doing that. You can go though, sorry.
All right. Hey, Vulcan, Sigan.
What's up?
Just wanted to ask there at the very end, it was very interesting how much Perks was like, hey, the cap is saving my life. Like, I really couldn't see the screen before. Were you aware of that? Like that was actually an issue? Because he made a very big point out of it.
Yeah, he has been complaining and telling the refs that the lights are an issue for him and that they are bothering him, and like I don't know if like they're blinding him, but it was definitely bothering him, and he was telling the refs what felt like every single day in the LCS games, and they would say like, oh, it's just the champs lights in the game will be different, but it was still bothering him in the game. And I think they made some adjustments, but obviously it was still an issue for him. So yeah, I was aware it was an issue, and I wasn't aware he was going to wear his cap today. I think it looked kind of funny, but whatever helps him plays better, I'm down for it, so I'm glad it worked out.
Shay, you can go.
Well, this week is rivalry week. You'll be going against TSM and Team Liquid. Now, obviously, Team Liquid's had their roster changes, and TSM has been taken down by Dignitas today. I'm not sure if you saw that match. But which team do you think you have a better chance going against, putting these factors into account?
I think Team Liquid is worse than TSM at the moment, which is, I guess, the pretty obvious answer. Just from their recent performances, I think TSM is looking like the second best team in NA after RTTs right now, and TL looks shaky, I guess, with their swaps, which are well, it's very unfortunate in the case of Centaurn, and then the top lane situation, I'm not too sure what's going on there, but it seems like a rough spot that they're in. So I mean, it kind of sucks to not play against TL in like their full strength, I guess. So I think the TL match will be easier than TSM because they're not using subs, and TSM is just looking stronger these days.
Shay, you can go.
Now, this is a bit of a hard question, and my apologies for this, but last year we saw Cloud9 again win Spring, and then unfortunately you guys missed out on Worlds, right? Now, obviously you guys have won Spring this year, and at the moment, again, you're slowly getting out of a rut, but, obviously fans are concerned that, maybe Cloud9 will miss Worlds this year. Do you think fans have a reason to worry? Are you guys just, waiting to show off, what you've been working on?
Well, I think fans have reason to worry because it did happen last year. but this time, at least to me, it feels much different. I feel like, well, first of all, the slump is happening much earlier compared to last year. Last year we were 9-0 in the first half of summer, I believe. And then the slump came kind of later, and we struggled to find our form back because of the lack of time, and it added pressure because we were going right into playoffs. And I feel like we weren't aware of the issues we were facing or the issues we had as a team or stuff like that. So that's like the first part. And then I feel like this year we, not only is it happening earlier, but I feel like we are very well aware of what's going on and kind of, I guess, taking action against what happened last year, just because it already happened, and we know that repercussions that, I guess, having a slump can have, right? And even though it sucked last year, it kind of gave us enough experience to know what to do in this situation right now where, well, I feel like we've already bounced back with today. I feel like we played the best game of summer, and hopefully after this game and this weekend, fans won't have a reason to worry anymore.
Thank you. And then Shay, you can ask the last question, and we'll be done.
Unfortunately, there are only 3 spots. Now, if you had to say, which team do you think in the top 4 out of the 100T, TL, and TSM that are going to miss out on Worlds if you could pick one?
Yeah, that's a pretty tough question to answer. I think it's between TSM and TL. I think 100 Thieves is looking like, I don't want to say for sure, but they're looking like the strongest contender to make it, right? And then between TL and TSM, I think that just depends on what happens with their roster, honestly, and if they're able to field their best players and kind of get their form back. But I guess it's just looking like TL might miss out on Worlds from my perspective at this point.